At 2:07 a.m., Malik Idris looked into his rear-view mirror and saw a dead man staring back at him. The passenger's eyes were open. His right hand still gripped a silver key. Beside him sat a leather case, while a phone on the floor kept flashing, "Don't let the driver leave." Then headlights appeared behind the cab. If you found £2 million beside a dead stranger, would you call the police or drive? Follow the story and comment your choice, because Malik had 7 seconds to decide. Rain tapped the windscreen like fingernails. Malik tightened his hands around the wheel. "Sir?" No answer. 5 minutes earlier, the man had been talking too much. He had climbed into the cab outside a Mayfair charity gala, smelling of expensive cologne and panic. His suit was tailored, but one cuff was torn. He gave Malik an address near the river, then changed it twice before Vauxhall. "You ever think about disappearing?" the passenger had asked. "Every time someone says they'll tip through the app," Malik replied. The man almost laughed. Now he was slumped against the door, lips faintly blue. Malik reached back and touched 2 fingers to his neck. Nothing. The phone flashed again. "Don't let the driver leave." A dark SUV turned into the empty road behind them. Malik's first instinct was to call emergency services. His second was to look at the envelope beside the gear stick. Amira's hospital letter, folded until the edges had gone soft. Payment required by Friday. The SUV accelerated. Malik grabbed the leather case. Too light. Then his shoe struck something beneath the seat. He bent down and found a second case, black and chained to the metal frame. The silver key in the dead man's hand fit the lock. Inside were rows of £50 notes. Malik stopped breathing. The SUV's headlights flooded the cab. A man stepped out, buttoning his coat as if he had arrived for dinner. He tapped once on Malik's window and smiled. "Open the door, Mr. Idris." "Open the door, Mr. Idris." The stranger's smile never reached his eyes. Malik kept both hands on the wheel. "You know me?" "I know your license number, your address, and that your daughter is treated at St. Thomas's." He glanced at the back seat. "So, let's not waste time." Rain ran down the glass. The man wore no gloves, no hood, nothing to hide his face. That frightened Malik more than a mask. "I have a dead passenger," Malik said. "Call an ambulance." "He doesn't need one. Unlock the door." Malik's thumb hovered over the central lock. Under his shoe, the black case pressed against the seat rail. The dead man's phone buzzed on the floor. The stranger heard it. His eyes dropped. Malik kicked the phone beneath the seat and started the engine. The stranger's smile vanished. "Don't." Malik threw the cab into drive. The man grabbed the handle, but the doors were locked. He struck the window as the cab jumped forward. The SUV roared behind him. Malik took the first left too fast. The dead man slid across the rear seat. The leather case fell open, spilling 6 passports. Everyone carried Daniel Vale's photograph under a different name. The phone rang again. Malik answered on speaker. A woman's voice filled the cab. "Daniel?" Malik said nothing. A pause. "You're not Daniel." In the mirror, the SUV entered the same street. "Who are you?" she asked. "Someone with a dead man in his cab." Her voice remained calm. "Listen carefully. The man behind you is Curtis Wren. If he reaches you, the body will become the least important thing in that car." Malik swerved between 2 parked vans. "What's in the case?" "Your way out, if you do exactly what I say." A red light began blinking beside the lock. Malik looked down. That light wasn't on before. The woman went silent. Then the case gave a sharp, metallic click. "Mr. Idris," she said, suddenly breathless. "Get out of the car." "Mr. Idris," the woman said, suddenly breathless. "Get out of the car." Malik stared at the red light flashing beside the lock. The SUV was less than 20 meters behind him. Why? Because Daniel never traveled without insurance. The case clicked again. Malik slammed the brakes, dragged the handbrake up, and threw himself through the driver's door. He hit the wet pavement shoulder first. The cab rolled forward. Curtis's SUV swerved around it, missing Malik by inches. Its tires sprayed dirty water across his face. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the black case burst open. Not an explosion, something worse. A cloud of crimson dye filled the cab, coating the seats, the money, and Daniel Vale's body. A sharp, chemical smell spilled through the open door. Malik pushed himself up. The woman was still speaking through the phone inside the car. The notes are marked now. Banks will flag them. Cameras will follow them. Whoever carries that money becomes the evidence. Curtis stopped the SUV ahead and stepped out. He looked at the red-stained interior, then at Malik. "You opened it." "I had help." Curtis's gaze shifted to the phone. The woman ended the call. Silence dropped between them, broken only by the hiss of rain on the bonnet. Curtis walked closer. "Where's the recorder?" "What recorder?" Curtis removed his coat and folded it over the SUV's bonnet. "People lie better when they're standing," he said. "You're on the ground, soaked, with a corpse in your car. This should be easy." Malik reached behind him and found the silver key still clenched in his fist. Curtis noticed. His expression changed. "Daniel gave you that?" "He was dead." "No." Curtis took another step. "Daniel never let go of anything by accident." A police siren sounded in the distance. Curtis looked towards the main road, then back at Malik. "Take the phone. Leave." "The body. Bring me the key by 3 o'clock. "And if I don't?" Curtis nodded towards the hospital letter visible through the windscreen. "At 3:05, your daughter gets a visitor." He turned towards the SUV. Behind Malik, Daniel Vale suddenly coughed. Curtis stopped with one hand on the SUV door. Malik turned. Daniel's body jerked against the seatbelt. A wet breath scraped from his throat, followed by another. His eyes rolled towards Malik, unfocused but alive. Curtis moved first. Malik reached the cab before him and slammed the rear door shut. Daniel's fingers clawed weakly at the glass. "Drive," Daniel whispered. Curtis struck the window with his palm. "He won't make it." Malik dropped into the driver's seat and locked the doors. Curtis stepped in front of the bonnet. For a moment, neither man moved. Then Malik pressed the accelerator. Curtis jumped aside as the cab tore forward, leaving the SUV and its open door behind. Daniel's breathing came in broken pieces. "The case," Malik said. "What did you put in it?" "Not mine." "Whose money is it?" Daniel smiled faintly. Red dye streaked one side of his face. "That's the wrong question." Malik checked the mirror. The SUV had turned and was coming after them again. "Then give me the right one." Daniel lifted his hand. The silver key trembled between two fingers. "Ask who the money was meant to silence." His strength failed. The key fell onto the floor. Malik grabbed the phone and shouted, "The woman who called! Who is she?" Daniel's eyes sharpened for the first time. "Layla." "What does she want?" "The same thing Curtis wants, just with better manners." The SUV closed the distance. Daniel reached inside his jacket and pulled out a small recorder, no larger than a matchbox. He shoved it through the gap between the seats. "Locker 317, Waterloo Station." "What's inside?" "Enough to ruin people who don't get ruined." A horn blasted behind them. Malik took a hard turn beneath the railway arches. The SUV overshot the junction. Daniel gripped Malik's shoulder. "Don't trust the police." "Why?" Because one of them paid for tonight." His fingers slipped away. The phone lit up with an incoming video call. Malik glanced at the screen. and saw Amira sitting in a hospital corridor. A man beside her leaned towards the camera. It was Curtis. 3 o'clock came early, he said. 3 o'clock came early, Curtis said. Amira sat beneath the hospital's white corridor lights, her coat zipped to the chin. She looked annoyed rather than frightened, which meant she was terrified. "Dad," she said, "Mum went to find a nurse." Curtis leaned closer to the camera. "She'll be back soon. Let's keep this civil before that changes." Malik checked the mirror. Daniel had gone still again. "What do you want?" "The key and the recorder. Waterloo Station, locker 317. You told me to bring them at 3. I've reconsidered the schedule." Curtis turned the phone slightly. 2 men stood near the corridor doors, dressed like hospital security. One watched Amira, the other watched the lifts. Malik gripped the wheel. "Touch her, and you get nothing." "That sentence only works when you're the one with control." Amira looked directly into the camera. "He smells like wet dog." Curtis glanced at her. "Expensive wet dog," she added. Despite everything, Malik almost smiled. It vanished when Curtis placed a hand on the back of her chair. 10 minutes, Curtis said. "Come alone." The call ended. Malik drove harder. Waterloo's towers appeared through the rain, blurred by red lights and dirty glass. Behind him, Daniel's recorder blinked once in the center console. Malik pressed play. Static crackled. Then Daniel's voice filled the cab. "If you're hearing this, I failed to reach the locker." Another voice answered. Older, polished, familiar from television interviews. "Sir Adrian Voss." "You've mistaken evidence for protection, Daniel." "It's both. No, protection keeps you alive." A chair scraped across the recording. Then came a third voice. A police officer said, "The driver has been selected. No family nearby. No one important." Malik's hands tightened. Daniel spoke again. "His name?" A pause. "Malik Idris." The recording stopped. Waterloo. Station rose ahead, crowded even at that hour. Malik pulled into the taxi lane and left Daniel in the back seat. Inside, commuters moved around him in waves. Locker 317 stood at the end of a narrow passage beside the toilets. The silver key turned smoothly. The locker was empty. Then the door behind Malik clicked shut. Layla Haddad stepped from the shadows, holding Amira's hospital bracelet. "You're late," she said. "You're late," Layla said. Malik stared at Amira's hospital bracelet between her fingers. "Where is she?" "Safe for the next few minutes." "That isn't an answer." "It's the only one you can afford." Layla slipped the bracelet into her coat pocket and nodded towards the empty locker. Up close, she looked less polished than she had sounded on the phone. A cut marked her lower lip. Rain darkened one shoulder. "Curtis got to the hospital before I did," she said. "I removed your daughter before he could move her." "Removed?" "She thinks I'm a solicitor helping her mother. Technically, neither word is false." Malik stepped closer. "Take me to her." "When I have the recorder." He laughed once, without humor. "You people all ask for the same thing." "Because the money is bait. The recorder is leverage." Malik kept one hand inside his jacket. "And the locker?" Layla tapped the metal wall. "Daniel built it as a signal. The moment the key turned, 6 people received an alert, including the officer on that recording." A cold feeling settled behind Malik's ribs. "You knew I was coming." "I knew someone would." Footsteps approached from the main concourse. Layla's gaze shifted past him. "We have perhaps 90 seconds. "Curtis?" "No. Worse." 2 uniformed officers appeared at the far end of the passage. One was young and confused. The other was broad-shouldered, grey-haired and calm. Malik recognized the voice before the face. "The driver has been selected. No family nearby. No one important." The older officer stopped. "Mr. Idris," he said, "step away from Ms. Haddad." Layla moved beside Malik, close enough for him to feel her breath. "His name is Commander Stephen Rourke," she whispered. "He arranged Daniel's route, your booking, and the delay in the ambulance response." Rourke placed a hand near his holster. "Daniel Vale is dead," he said. "Your seat. Ab has been found covered in his blood. This can still be explained as panic." Malik looked at Layla. "You said 90 seconds. I was being generous." The station lights went out. In the darkness, Layla grabbed his wrist and pulled him through a narrow service door. Behind them, a gunshot cracked through the passage. Malik felt her stumble. When the emergency lights flickered on, blood was spreading across Layla's white blouse. She pressed a keycard into his palm. "Platform 12, she gasped. "Your daughter is on the train." "Platform 12, she gasped. "Your daughter is on the train." Layla sagged against Malik. He caught her before she hit the floor. Behind the service door, Commander Rourke shouted, "Drop the weapon!" Malik looked at his empty hands, bright with Layla's blood. She shoved him away. "Go! I'm not leaving you." "That would be touching if your daughter weren't about to leave London." A departure bell rang. Malik pressed his scarf against Layla's wound, pulled it tight, then jammed a cleaning trolley under the door handle. The metal door bucked as someone struck it from the other side. He ran. Platform 12 was across the station. Crowds broke around him as he pushed through. The board flashed 2:34, Portsmouth Harbour. Departing, the doors began to close. "Amira!" A small hand appeared between them. Malik forced the doors apart and fell into the carriage as the train moved. Amira stood in the aisle, pale but unhurt. He gripped her shoulders. "Did anyone touch you?" "No. Your solicitor friend told me to avoid men wearing ties." Malik scanned the carriage. 2 passengers slept. One man stared at a newspaper without turning the page. "Where is she?" Amira asked. "Back at the station." That sounded like a lie. It was a bad answer. The man lowered the newspaper, placed a padded envelope on the seat, and walked into the next carriage. Inside lay Daniel Vale's passport, a memory card, and a note. "The recorder is a copy. The original is with your daughter." Malik turned slowly. Amira reached into her coat and produced a plastic inhaler. "I thought it was medicine." Malik twisted it open. A tiny storage drive slid into his palm. The carriage lights flickered. At the far end, the connecting door opened. Commander Rourke stepped through, holding Layla's bloodied keycard. He locked the door behind him. "No more stations," he said. "No more stations," Rourke said. The train rocked beneath them, gathering speed beyond the last platform lights. Malik moved Amira behind him. Rourke lifted one hand. "I'm not here for the girl." "Men always say that when they bring a gun near one." Amira whispered, "He does have a gun, right?" "Unfortunately." Rourke almost smiled. "Daniel chose well." "I didn't choose any of this." "No, that was the point." He stepped closer, steadying himself against a seat as the carriage swayed. Daniel needed a driver with debt, no powerful friends, and a family problem large enough to explain bad decisions. You were meant to take the cash, panic, and disappear. And when the police found me, they'd find a desperate immigrant, a dead financier, and £2 million covered in tracking dye. The newspapers would write the ending for us. Malik felt the memory card cutting into his palm. "Then why keep me alive?" "Because Daniel changed the plan. He gave you the key." Rourke's eyes dropped to Malik's closed fist. Amira tugged Malik's coat. "Dad." Not Malik. "Dad." Her gaze shifted towards the emergency panel beside the door. Rourke noticed. "Don't," he said. Amira pressed it. An alarm screamed through the carriage. The sleeping passengers woke. The man near the window ducked. Rourke turned for half a second. Malik lunged. They struck the floor hard. The gun slid beneath a row of seats. Rourke drove an elbow into Malik's ribs, then reached for the memory card. Amira kicked the gun farther down the aisle. "You raised an inconvenient child," Rourke grunted. "Her mother did most of the work." The train began braking. Rourke froze. Outside the window, an abandoned maintenance platform appeared through the darkness. 3 black vehicles waited beside it. Rourke stopped fighting. "That alarm doesn't call the police," he said. The train slowed further. Men tapped from the vehicles. At their center stood Sir Adrian Voss, holding Evelyn by the arm. Malik stared through the glass. Adrian raised Evelyn's phone and displayed one message on the screen. "Bring the drive outside, or she dies first." "Bring the drive outside, or she dies first." The message glowed on Evelyn's phone. Malik rose slowly from the carriage floor. Rourke stayed beside him, breathing hard, one hand pressed to his ribs. "Open the door," Adrian called through the glass. Malik held up the memory drive. "Let her go." Adrian tightened his grip on Evelyn's arm. "You're confusing possession with power." The train had stopped completely. Outside, 6 men spread across the maintenance platform. No uniforms, no cameras, nothing beyond wet concrete, black vehicles, and the river moving somewhere in the dark. Amira stood beside the emergency panel. "Dad," she whispered, "the microphone is still on." Above them, a red light blinked. The alarm had opened a live channel to the driver, the control center, and every carriage speaker. Malik looked at Adrian. Then he pressed the door release. Cold air rushed inside. He stepped onto the platform with the drive held between 2 fingers. Adrian smiled for the men around him. "There. A sensible decision." "You selected me because nobody would believe me," Malik said loudly. Rourke appeared in the doorway behind him. Malik kept speaking. "You arranged Daniel's cab. You delayed the ambulance. You planned to leave me with his body and your money." Adrian's expression hardened. "Give me the drive." Evelyn looked past him towards the train. She saw Amira beside the microphone and understood. "You forgot something," Malik said. "What?" "People listen when they think they aren't meant to." Adrian glanced towards the carriage. The speakers crackled. His own voice echoed through the train. "You're confusing possession with power." The men around him shifted. From inside the carriages came movement, passengers standing, phones rising, cameras turning towards the platform. Adrian released Evelyn and reached inside his coat. Rourke drew out his gun. For 1 second, both weapons pointed at Malik. Then Rourke turned and aimed at Adrian. "I said no civilians," he said. Adrian laughed. "You stopped being useful 10 minutes ago." A shot exploded across the platform. Rourke spun into the train door. The memory drive flew from Malik's hand, struck the concrete, and slid beneath Adrian's car. Evelyn broke free. Adrian's men rushed forward, and from beneath the vehicle came a small metallic click. A red light began flashing. A red light began flashing beneath Adrian's car. Everyone stopped. Adrian stared at the vehicle. "What did you do?" Malik dropped to one knee and looked beneath the chassis. The memory drive had struck a black receiver fixed beside the rear wheel. A thin progress bar glowed across its casing. Upload, 8%. Daniel had never trusted one device. The drive was the key. Adrian's own receiver was the lock. Adrian shoved one of his men aside. "Get it out!" The man reached beneath the car. The receiver chirped. Upload, 14%. From inside the train, passengers filmed through the open doors. Amira remained at the emergency panel, keeping the microphone live. Evelyn backed towards the carriage. Adrian grabbed her coat. "Nobody moves." Malik stepped between them. "Every word is being recorded." "Recorded by frightened commuters," Adrian said. "By morning they'll remember whatever their lawyers tell them to remember." Rourke, bleeding against the doorway, raised his gun again. "Let her go." Adrian's expression barely changed. You missed from 6 feet. I wasn't aiming at you. The man under the car cried out. A sharp electric pulse threw him onto his back. Upload 31. Adrian pulled a pistol from inside his coat and fired at the receiver. The bullet struck metal. The casing cracked, but the progress bar continued. Upload 46%. Malik lunged for Evelyn. Adrian fired again. Glass shattered behind them. Passengers screamed and dropped between seats. Amira disappeared from view. "Amira!" Evelyn shouted. Malik drove his shoulder into Adrian's chest. They hit the side of the car. Adrian's gun skidded across the platform. One of the guards seized Malik from behind. Malik stamped hard on the man's foot, twisted free, and slammed his elbow into his throat. The receiver beeped faster. Upload 63%. Adrian crawled towards his gun. Rourke aimed at him, but his injured arm shook. Then a woman's voice came through the train speakers. "Adrian, don't touch it." Layla stood at the far end of the platform, one hand pressed against her blood-soaked blouse. In the other, she held Daniel's phone. Adrian froze. Layla raised the screen. "The upload isn't going to journalists," she said. "It's going to every account you own." The progress bar jumped. Upload 81%. Adrian looked beneath the car, then at Layla. "What happens at 100? Layla smiled through the pain. "Your money chooses who goes to prison." "Your money chooses who goes to prison." The receiver beneath the car flashed. Upload 84%. Adrian glanced at Layla, then at the pistol on the concrete. Malik saw the decision in his face. Adrian moved. Evelyn kicked the weapon beneath the train, but he caught her wrist and dragged her towards the platform edge. "Stop the upload." Layla held Daniel's phone to her chest. "I can't." "You built the accounts." "I built doors." Daniel changed the locks. Upload 88%. A siren wailed beyond the tunnel. Adrian's men exchanged looks. One ran, then another. "Cowards," Adrian muttered. "No," Malik said. "Employees." Adrian tightened his grip on Evelyn. "Pull out the drive." Malik looked beneath the car. The receiver sparked beside the rear wheel. He could reach it, but Adrian had a second gun strapped to his ankle. Amira appeared in the train doorway. "Dad?" Adrian turned. Malik struck his arm. Evelyn twisted free. Layla threw Daniel's phone to Rourke, who caught it against his wounded shoulder. Adrian dropped to one knee and drew the ankle gun. He aimed at Amira. Malik lunged. The shot cracked. He hit Amira first, knocking her into the carriage. A window shattered behind them. Malik landed hard, waiting for pain. None came. Adrian stared at the dark stain spreading across his shirt. Rourke stood in the doorway, gun raised. Adrian collapsed. Upload 96%. Layla crawled towards the receiver. Rourke blocked her. "At 100, she said, the stolen funds move automatically. Some return to the charity accounts." "Some?" Malik asked. Layla said nothing. He understood. Daniel had not built justice. He had built one final theft. Upload 99%. Malik reached beneath the car and closed his hand around the drive. Amira grabbed his sleeve. "If you pull it out, the evidence goes too." The receiver gave one final warning tone. Upload 99%. Amira's fingers tightened around Malik's sleeve. "If you pull it out, the evidence goes too." Malik looked at Layla. She wasn't watching the receiver. She was watching Daniel's phone in Rourke's hand. "Give me the phone," Malik said. Layla's face changed. Only slightly, but enough. Rourke handed it over. On the screen, 2 processes were running. The first was marked Evidence Distribution. It had completed 3 minutes earlier. The second read Private Transfer, El Haddad. Malik looked up. Daniel wasn't stealing the money. Layla's voice hardened. "He owed me." "You were his exit plan." I was the reason he survived as long as he did. Beneath the car, the receiver beeped again. Malik pulled out the drive. The progress bar died at 99. Layla stared at the blank screen. "You've just destroyed £2 million. "No," Malik said. "I stopped you stealing it." Police lights flooded the tunnel entrance. Layla stepped backwards, but Rourke caught her wrist. She looked at him with disgust. "You're arresting me?" Rourke glanced at Adrian's body. "I'm trying something new." Officers poured onto the platform. Passengers emerged from the train with their phones raised. Dozens of recordings had already escaped into the world. Adrian's confession, Rourke's role, Layla's transfer, all of it. Evelyn wrapped both arms around Amira. Malik stood apart, hands red with dye and blood. A detective approached him. "Malik Idris?" He nodded. "You understand you'll need to come with us?" "I know." Evelyn met his eyes. She didn't forgive him. She didn't look away either. As Malik was led towards the tunnel, Amira called after him. "Dad?" He turned. She held up the silver key. "You dropped this." Malik looked at the object that had opened the suitcase, the locker, and every lie that followed. "Keep it," he said. "What does it open now?" Malik glanced at the stopped train, the cameras, and the first grey light gathering beyond the tunnel. "Nothing," he said. "That's why it's finally ours."